Brought to you by the TGEM Network. The podcast you're about to listen to is just about people coming together and sharing experiences, and is in no way an advice show. Enjoy.
Hey everyone, I'm Amanda Lambert, a registered health and exercise practitioner with a bachelor's of education and the founder and CEO of Strong Minds. This is our podcast, Real Talk with Strong Minds. What I want to see with this podcast is people coming together to talk about real life struggles and how we can come together to help ourselves overcome them. Today, I'm so excited to have Anastasia Charters on the show. She is someone who is so special to me. I just love her. And as the episode goes on, you'll find out why I truly love her. So welcome. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
This is an honor.
Yeah, you know what? It's an honor for you to be here. I love you. And why don't you just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and why I love you so much?
Okay, well, I'm Anastasia. I'm 21.
Yeah, 21.
21, yeah. I work.
I remember when I was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I work in the daycare right now.
Mm-hmm. How many daycares do you go through, like, in a day?
2. So I go to Taryn Torres and to Isabel Fletcher.
How is it working with children all day?
Oh, I love it. I love the kids. They're amazing.
People have told me that Anastasia is really awesome with the kids and that she works really well with them. So my son goes to another location within the facility, and yeah, it's been reported that you're a really good worker, Anastasia.
I love the kids. It's so natural.
Have you always wanted to work in the daycares?
No, for the longest time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I would always babysit kids and I loved it, but I never put 2 and 2 together. Like, why not work in this type of field? And I had to give a list of jobs that I wanted to do and didn't, and that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into it, and yeah, here I am now, a year later. And
That's awesome.
love it. The kids are amazing. And then
so is that where you're working as of currently, just in the daycares?
Yeah, I'm also in the process of taking ownership over my aunt's business.
Do tell.
It is called Training Algoma. Yeah, it offers first aid and CPR and some other courses.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited for you to really finalize all of that, because I know that it's super important to you. So I'm like super, super excited. And it's kind of like your first time sharing that you are doing this, right? You haven't put it out there yet. This is your first time?
This is the first time it's really been put out there.
Wow.
I'm super excited.
That's awesome.
And I can't wait.
So I guess you kind of told us a little bit already about, your life, but I really wanted you to tell me how things were in your life when we met. So tell me, like, your story. So just a little disclaimer, Anastasia has not heard any of these questions. So, just to give the viewers a little insight. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your story on how, like, maybe how we met, or how things were in your life when we met.
Well, I was 16, 17 when I met you.
Mm-hmm.
Through fitness classes.
Yeah, you were coming with your mom, right?
My mom, yeah. And my mom was doing a workout challenge, and I was like her partner.
Yeah.
I
remember that.
Yeah.
This was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. And she was working on herself, but then I really wanted to work on myself too.
Yeah. I remember that it was a challenge, and it was like to build upper body strength, cardio, flexibility. Yes, I remember that. And I think I went up to your mom and I was like, hey, like, I noticed that Anastasia is not in the classes, like what's going on? And she kind of shared that you were just having a hard time. And I kind of was
Mhm.
like, I just, didn't sit well with me. And I think when you came back, I really, approached you and
Yeah,
really wanted to ask like if there was anything I could do to,
yeah, it was at the end of our class, and then you gave me your number.
yeah, because
And
when I was teaching classes, I was also building my company and I was
yes,
working with youths. And I really wanted to be able to offer, some services to you and your mom because I know that you guys were having a hard time.
yeah. So
Yeah.
then you are a personal trainer.
Yeah. Yeah, I was early on. That's what I
That's kind of
really, really
where,
focused on.
yeah, that's kind of where it started.
Yeah.
And
We had a lot of
then
fun.
that was, yeah, your business was starting. I needed my community hours for high school. So I started doing some volunteer work. That was when you did the first annual run
Yeah.
where I got a lot of my hours.
I remember that you came to a lot of health and wellness fairs through the
Yeah.
company. Your mom was really loving the fact that she saw you thriving and coming out of your shell, and that you were able to really start loving the whole, health and wellness like
Yeah.
world. And when I, would report back to your mom on, some of the days that you would do work within the company, I would always say that you would voice that you were feeling a lot better, that you were
Yeah.
really enjoying like how things were going for you. So I know that that was really important to your mom, but I think it also evolved to the fact that, my mom really meets a lot of my clients
Mhm.
with the, disclaimer that the parents know. And my mom just always has a soft spot for my young youth clients.
Yeah.
And so when she met you, she also met your mom. And then friendships kind of
It
happened with my
just
mom and
was
your mom,
so, yeah, like,
which is like, I think it's really cool how that really kind of evolved
mhm.
because you were also my cousin's age,
Yeah,
where,
and I was like really good friends with her. And
yeah,
so then we would go to like family dinners
yeah,
together.
yeah. It
And
was
that was
so,
prom. My prom was happening, and I needed someone to do my hair and makeup. So you got that all figured out for
yeah, I
me.
I asked my friend. I was like, I need some help.
And that's when I like never wore makeup. I was so scared. She did my makeup. I didn't like it.
really coming out of your shell.
Yeah. You
That's
came to me with for
hilarious.
my prom photos.
Yeah, I remember that. And I think at that time though, your mom needed that support too,
Yeah.
like, and now looking back, the service that I offer with my company, that respite, and that, how it really helps the whole entire family.
Yeah.
That's literally what I was doing for you and your mom, but it
And
just
it
wasn't developed
wasn't,
yet.
yeah.
It wasn't, what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting how till this day, 5 years later, we are still, in each other's lives and
Mhm.
very involved. So, how does mental health affect your life day to day?
Well, I have really bad anxiety. So
Okay.
every day is a struggle in different ways, but I've really started to learn different coping mechanisms and different strategies to use to help that anxiety, that
Yeah.
anxious
Yeah.
feeling. I think for the longest time I didn't understand what that feeling was. I
Yeah.
didn't understand, like, okay, why am I feeling this in my chest, like my heart's beating, or why am I so scared? That's what I thought. I was scared to do something. And then I started to understand more about mental health
Yeah.
and mental illness, and find different ways to help that feeling because it doesn't necessarily go away.
Absolutely. Yep.
You can, and had to understand that, okay, this time I can practice my breathing or go step outside and it works.
Yeah.
But the next time or an hour later, that doesn't help.
Right.
I had to figure out and understand that I have so many different, I don't even know how to explain that, but like a list of things to basically go through when I get anxious.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And have to, you know what, okay, the breathing didn't work. Okay, go to the next thing. Okay, that didn't work. Go to the, like, just keep trying, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you honestly, like, I totally understand what you mean. I might not understand fully, but I was someone who used to have a lot of anxiety attacks. And my view on for my anxiety anyway, it could be different for everyone.
Yeah.
But for me, there was a reason why I was having the anxiety, right?
Mhm.
So in my opinion, and what I realized for me was that there was a reason why I was feeling anxious.
Yeah.
The relationship I was in. Oh, I wasn't really, identifying that I like was having like massive eating disorder symptoms, and it wasn't until I really, sorted things out. Yes.
Where that
connected,
anxious feeling, why am I feeling anxious? And you see that, oh, it's
like,
because, I'm not in a good relationship, or
I connected the dots.
Mhm.
And what I kind of explain how my life is, it's like those large puzzles that are like 1,000 like pieces. Like your life is literally like just putting the pieces together every single day. And especially if you're someone, that has any kind of like trauma, like that's literally how it is, And so it's really interesting that you did, say that, because I really can validate that anxiety feeling, it's so uncomfortable, but there's usually reasons why it's happening.
Was the biggest thing for me. I didn't understand. It was like, why I shouldn't be feeling this way. Why am I feeling this? And talking to my counselor, it was like, okay, well, why are you feeling like that? What happened?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have to explain. And that's when I realized, like, it was, you started to see a pattern.
Yeah.
What those things were.
Absolutely.
And like a big thing with me, it was like, if I couldn't control something.
Yeah.
Like if I was having an argument with my mom and we weren't on the same page. Well, I wanted it fixed and done right then and there, but I couldn't control that. And that's when I would just get so angry and upset and feel all these emotions, where I had to step back and think like, okay, what can I control? What can I do? What can I help the situation or myself? And I had to put my focus in things I could control rather than the things I couldn't.
So I love it.
When my mom and I were going through a hard time, that destroyed me. That killed me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have a really good relationship with my mom, and we do now.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, but I had to put my focus somewhere else. So I wasn't in school. I didn't have a job. And she said,
I remember that time in your life, because in the 5 years, like we really lost touch. Like it's only been the last year-ish. The last year that we've been kind of reconnected. But I remember those periods because we stayed connected.
Yeah.
And I remember that you were having really hard times with your mom and your relationship. And I remember just some of the things that you shared with me. And it's interesting thinking back of how hard things were and now.
And I would put all my focus into that.
Yeah.
Because everything had to be perfect. Everything had to be a certain way. Then when I started to understand, like, this stuff happens. Yeah. This is normal. Mm-hmm. But I had to put focus on, okay, you know what? I can focus on applying to school, figure out what I want to do. I can controlled that, okay, I need a job, go and apply. That was just one step. I had to do those steps and give myself credit because it was hard.
I believe that you beat the odds because you were faced with so many challenges. And for where you are right now at 21, like literally couldn't be more proud. Truly. Not scripted. Like, okay, don't cry. I'm just kidding. No. Truly though, would you say that you beat the odds?
Yeah. It has not been an easy route the last few years. You know, having
you could have went different directions. You could have went really different directions. Knowing the fact that, you know, you're working, you're about to take over a company. She's being humble, but it's like a corporation. Like, you should be more happy. And your aunt would be so proud. Like, she really would. So,
yeah.
But
no, I am like proud of myself.
Yeah. And it's okay to have that self-validation. Like when you think about your journey, like there's moments where I'm driving and I can't help but like sometimes choke up because I'm like, holy, like I'm really, you know, I believe I beat the odds in a different kind of way, right? With, you know, lack of services, with, you know, trying to recover from an eating disorder, being in a, you know, small town. So I really think that we share similar, you know, similar things in our journey, which is why I feel like we connect so well. It's nice that we've come back into each other's lives because, you know, since coming back into each other's lives, I've been giving, you know, Anastasia some guidance with how to really take ownership of the company, because it is stressful. And you know, she's also been doing lots of like work with the company. She's like, you know, my assistant some days and like it's amazing. No, it's like she's late half the time, but she's so good at her job that like I can't I let some things slide, I guess, at Strong Minds, but no, it's just really nice. She does really great work with the company. She, you know, keeps me organized and she has really great ideas and gives good input. So yeah, it's a really good collaboration. And when she does have complete ownership of the company, we've already kind of talked about, you know, collaborations with Strong Minds and Training Algoma. So it's going to be really cool to see what, you know, the next 5 years of her life has
it's
to
crazy,
offer.
5 years.
5 years. Yeah. And, you know, just, you know, when I asked you, circling back to, you know, tell me how things were in your life when we met, maybe I can even share a little bit of my perspective, right? Like when I met you, like I was not in a good place. Like even though I was the, you know, owner of Strong Minds, I had, you know, you coming on board with doing some of your hours, me just establishing myself, but your mom really seeing the potential that I guess I had, you know, because I just was really getting by myself. Like I'm very transparent with my story. And in the pilot episode, you know, I did say, you know, I would share little bits and pieces of my story as the episodes go on, but like I was in a bad place. Like I was not good. I was not well. I was getting ready to go away to treatment.
And I remember
I was scared to tell people. I had to tell my clients. Yeah, I was like really sick and I was developing kind of like a friendship with your mom and you and my mom.
Well, I'm pretty sure before you left, like we all had a dinner at your Nona's.
Yeah.
Before, and then
my mom, I think it was all meant to be because my mom needed the support too. It was hard on my mom, like when I went.
Yeah.
So,
and then I remember picking you up at the airport with
like
your mom.
I can't, like, it's so funny because you would think that I wouldn't forget that, but like time just passes, right? But yeah, when I came home from treatment, the first person I hung out with was you. And here's the thing, okay? Because when you go away to treatment, like they teach you things, and
Mhm.
you can't hang out with a lot of your old friends.
Yeah.
And I felt safe hanging out with Anastasia, and my mom, had the support of Anastasia's mom. So it was just like I felt okay because the temptation of like alcohol, there wasn't any temptation of like a binge or any kind of purging. So it was just a really um good feeling to be around. And that was really important when, especially someone coming right home from treatment, like being very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So it was just really interesting that I'm like, wow, like, yeah, that's like a very pivotal, like, that's an important,
Like, and I had your dog Zoe.
yeah,
And
like,
we went to the beach.
yeah, I remember that.
Like
Wow. So, yeah, so, from my perspective, that's how things really were. Like from my perspective, like when I met her, not really in a good place, and then went to treatment, got better, came home, really worked on my recovery, like super, super hard. But years passed and we kind of lost touch, but always like really just stayed connected a bit, like just checked in with each
and
other.
it was like there was so much
Yeah,
happening. Like even when we both met, we weren't where we are now.
Absolutely not.
It was like I was just graduating high school. I was going to college, didn't know my program, was like home life, and then you with your eating disorder, going away, coming back. Like
Yeah.
there was just so much, but those things that were happening didn't affect us and our
No.
friendship. Like that never got in the way.
That's really important because it's a touchy like subject, but like, when you do have like mental health issues, like it's hard for others to be like in a relationship with you, whether
Yeah.
that's romantic or friendship, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember some great people in my life at some moments in my life when things were really not good with my health, right?
Yeah.
They didn't understand at the time, but like throughout my journey, I know that I've apologized to some people because I know that, the ED parts really took over and I wasn't myself in some of those friendships.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to be able to have always been like myself, whether I was sick or healthy,
Yeah.
and really being able to like still maintain a personal relationship and like a business relationship, because it's really cool what we've been able to achieve in like such a short period of time, like from a business perspective, right? And it's
Yeah.
just like we make a really good team.
We do.
So with that being said, Anastasia Charters,
Yes, Amanda Lambert.
do you have anything else you would like to say?
I just think it's crazy, like we said, from how it was 5 years ago to how it is now. Like I've seen you grow as a person.
Oh, don't make me cry.
So much. Like I remember you coming home, you had to have like a meal plan. You had to follow a meal. You had to follow a schedule. Where now,
Yeah.
like you don't have that. You're
Yeah.
able to
It was
to not have to follow something, and it's just amazing to see that you're comfortable with. You don't have, I mean, there's probably days where you do, don't get me wrong, but 5 years ago to now is a huge difference.
July 24th, 2018 was my last like massive panic attack. Like I used to like have bad anxiety due to this eating disorder part. And I remember when I went back to college at like 28, 29, like I would get them so bad. And it wasn't until, I faced what was really happening.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sick. Like I need to like get better. And I remember having like, because I was also in a really bad relationship when I had left to go to treatment. And I remember having the panic attack. It was regarding, mealtime, but also just the lack of support from that relationship.
Yeah.
And I just had a really bad panic attack. And when I went over it with, my team in London, Ontario, we pinpoint, what was going on. And it was just really interesting because after that, I was able to really not experience that full-blown panic attack. I can still feel that anxious feeling, like that tightness in my chest sometimes, that day-to-day kind of anxiety, but it's just so amazing that once you really identify like the main issue, how that can really
And
like
once you start
decrease.
to learn how to
Yeah,
deal with it,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah.
it's just crazy to see how far.
Well, thank you. It's really nice to see like, the progress that I've been making. It's nice that others see it
Well, and I
because
feel
it's
like
hard.
I've seen from when Strong
Recovery
Minds.
is hard.
Yeah.
And owning a company is hard. Having a baby in recovery is hard. Like being, a business owner, maintaining recovery, being a mom, being a partner, being a friend.
Having mental illness.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's hard.
And you know what?
And you're doing it.
I'm proud of you too. Well, thank you so much for being here, Anastasia Charters. It's a pleasure, having you here. I'm blessed that you are in my life.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. I'm so glad I got to experience this with you.
Thank you so much for being here. It was amazing. I had so much fun. And stay tuned, guys, for the next episode.